Welcome to the Darkstream, VoxDay, voxday.net, and unauthorized.tv. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry about the earlier technical glitch. We had some problems over here in Switzerland. Our major ISP in the area was down for 2 hours this morning and created some knock-on effects. But because we've got such a good dev team, we are back up. We are running fine. Also, for those of you who noticed that ArcTunes was down, ArcTunes is also back up. Same deal. Just when your ISP goes down, sometimes it has these knock-on effects. So, gremlins on the net, one might say. So tonight is going to be kind of a bit of a special Darkstream. Got a couple things to show you that I think will be of some interest to folks. But before I start talking about anything serious, I got this email today from a big fan of Owen's, and he's created a movie. It's a small budget movie, and I checked it out just for kicks, and I was kind of surprised because it was actually a remarkably good Owen impression, and he was saying that it's a whole movie called Star-Lord something or other. Let me see. That's not fair. I need to be specific. The movie is called. Let's see here. I'm getting contacts from Tokyo. That's nice. And so anyhow, let's see here. It's called Star Sword, The High Table. It says, if you get a chance, please check it out. The vampire Onyx is inspired by you. The character Walter is heavily inspired by Big Bear. So anyhow, here's a little bit of a cut that he sent to me, and it's pretty funny. Let's check it out.
Ira.
Stop making the gay jokes when there's no one around. It's awkward, Walter.
You are so close to being almost 100% gay. He chose to steal my bike. Thus he became a part of the song. The Watermelon song.
You can't say things like that, Walter. It's offensive.
Look, I made a song about the Chinese maths puzzle. And there's the Indian train song as well. And my favourite, the Bagel Boys. See? It's not the Jews.
You might even use the N-word. I mean, for comedy, would you?
Yeah, if I felt society needed me to, then I would. I wouldn't let them suffer.
What do you mean suffer? What are you talking about?
Political correctness is a cruelty, Bulldog. Why shouldn't people be able to listen to the relief of comedy?
Because it's hateful, for goodness sake.
No. It's a word, Bulldog. And a word without hate has no intention.
No. No, you're picking on them, on the black community.
Yeah, I do. I'm a comedian and I'm not a cowardly one. No one else is brave enough to do it. But I tell you what, the demographic who I pick on the most, do you know who that is? That's the white male Caucasian. The wankers. The squirt boys. The porn-addicted cucks.
What do you want from me, Walter? I don't go around telling people to watch porn. What do you want me to do? Kick doors in and slap dicks out of people's hands?
No one's welcoming that, trust me. Just highlighting it goes a long way. Especially coming from someone who young men look up to.
Oh, Walter, stop pretending like you've never seen it. Come on, give me a break.
I never said I never watched it. I have done. But I knew something wasn't right, but no one was there to tell me that it was bad. You know, spiritually, biologically, morally. Look, it's different when you were a teenager. You take a page from a magazine and hide it in the forest. Dig it up like it was treasure, just to see a breast. Rain damaged, crinkled, out of the mud, just a bit of faded nipple. The wind would hit your trousers and you would pop a boner, sir.
Yes, you've got a point, yeah. I mean, it is getting more accessible, more powerful. I should look into that.
Unless it's on the list of things you can't look into on your show.
What are you trying to say now, Walt? You trying to say I get given a list? You trying to say I'm a fucking mug on a bit?
Like what?
Look, I'll tell you after the show. I don't want to get you started.
Oh, okay, yeah. The shape of the earth stuff. You know, it's funny because the smarter segment of your audience would love you to talk about that, but you refuse to.
Because it's crazy. You have to be insane to believe that.
That's called sheep herd mentality, Bulldog, and you've got it.
So you're saying men are more important than women.
No, I
right?
think women are more important than men. The most important career is the homemaker, and all other careers' purpose is to serve the ultimate career. Who said that, Jed?
C.S. Lewis.
Precisely, thank you very much.
Look, it don't matter who said it, yeah? It's an old-fashioned way of thinking. Well, women stay at home cooking and cleaning.
And to raise children, Bulldog.
Look, it's not up to me to tell women what to do. They can make their own decisions. Reminds me of that thing you said. What's it you say?
I say a lot of things.
If I don't tell the truth, I'm lying?
I say, I may be wrong, but I'm not lying.
That's it. That's the one, you know.
I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what that is. And frankly, the other trailer, which had the vampire, like, confused me even more. So, but it was funny. And, I mean, it's amusing how Big Bear is actually funny even when someone's just imitating him. So, Nidmeister says, I'd watch the full movie. I can't guarantee that I would watch the full movie, but I have to admit I'd give it a shot. I mean, it's pretty amusing. I'll talk to the guy and I'll see if he might be interested in letting us put it up on unauthorized, or maybe even we'll do a group watch of it together. That might be amusing. So anyhow, what I wanted to talk about tonight, there's two things I want to talk about. And the first one is related to the post today on VP about the Chinese shipbuilding capabilities. And the other one is about yesterday's post concerning the drone warfare and fifth generation warfare. And so, you know, one of the things that we're facing, one of the challenges that we're facing, as you well know, is, you know, we're in a rebuilding mode here at Unauthorized. We're basically starting, we started from scratch essentially, a month ago, not even a full month ago. And so, you know, one of the challenges when you're starting over with these situations, you have to basically win everybody back, you know, demonstrate that what you're offering is of value. And, you know, in the video world, things are a little bit more ephemeral than in, say, you know, the leather bookbinding world and so forth. So something that people have been asking me to do for a while is to bring back Voxiversity. And I've kind of resisted doing that, mostly because, as you know, video is not really my medium, and also because it's got a lot more costs attached to it than streaming. You know, you have to actually pay a film editor to put the thing together and get the clips and et cetera, et cetera. You know, even though they're not very long, I mean, they're like, what, you know, 6-7 minutes long. We had some, when we did it before, we had some big subscribers who were basically fronting the cost of that and that sort of thing. And so I just thought I would mention that this is something that I'm looking at the possibility of doing. What we would probably do is we'd have 2 levels of Voxiversity subscription. And we do the same thing as we had done previously, where the subscribers have the ability to, if they're a high-level subscriber, they have the ability to request a specific Voxiversity, and otherwise, all the subscribers will have the chance to vote on things. So, if that happens to be of any interest, basically shoot me an email and let me know. Yeah, this is something that I'm potentially interested in. If not, you know, that's okay. I mean, it's not something that we need to do, but it just occurred to me that as we're rebuilding, it's something that we should consider doing. And what brought it up, and the reason that I mention it in the context of the unauthorized, in the context of the Chinese situation, is that I haven't forgotten that I owe all of the new premium subscribers, that I owe them my analysis of the Taiwan situation. And so Skydog says, I wonder if Voxiversity on Sigma Game Substack will gather more subscribers. Well, you know, I'll put word of it up there. We'll see what people are interested in. You know, what I should do is that's a good idea. What I should do is, for a post on Sigma Game, I should put up the Voxiversity stuff on, you know, the Gamma, the SSH, the 3 videos that we have related to it. I think we have Alpha. So, in any event, I'm not apologizing for having taken a while to get around to doing this Taiwan invasion thing. In fact, I had a brainstorm today that I think will make the delay more than worth it to everyone. Because now that I have access to AI analysis, it's basically like putting a turbocharger on your brain. And if you're able to know what you're talking about, and if you have a decent grasp of what you're talking about, it allows you to postulate or provide the correct questions. And so what was really interesting was I've been preparing for this video. And so I was doing some of my homework, and, you know, I've read the whole thing 1.5 times now, but, you know, you miss stuff. And so I just said, basically, hey, you know, that report, would you please just give me these 10 statistics and these 10 statistics? And so I read it. I read the report that the AI had kicked out. And then I thought, wait a minute, there is something missing from this entire document, this entire 150-page whatever document that it is. Something missing from all the war games. And you know what it was? It was directly related to what I was putting on AI Central yesterday. That massive, big budget, high profile war game of the Taiwan invasion did not involve drone warfare at all. They didn't take it into account at all. And so, so I did a bit of a deep dive on that today. And the results are, frankly, significant. I wouldn't say they're necessarily astonishing. You can probably figure out which direction things were kind of going. But it was definitely eyebrow raising. And so, so I think that this video that I've promised you guys is going to be a lot better than you expected. And it's also going to be something that the mainstream hasn't even heard about, hasn't even considered. Either source says that's one way to put the thumb on the scale. I don't think they were. I mean, I don't think that they meant to. I don't think that they had any idea how significant it could be. If you look at when they did it, they were conducting it in 2022. And that was well before even the Russian military had fully grasped how significant the drone warfare aspect could be. And so, anyhow, that's what got me thinking about Voxiversity, because I thought, wow, if I can improve my performance, my own analytical abilities this much on something that is this significant, has this many resources on it, then I actually think that I can bring something to the table with Voxiversity that is worth it. You know, because I'm very appreciative, and I'm well aware of how much this community supports these various things that we do: Castelia Library, ArcTunes, Unauthorized, etc. And so I'm very hesitant to even add to our product list, as it were, unless I really feel that we're genuinely bringing something high quality to the table. And this is the first time that I've felt that that's really possible in the video format. So anyhow, just something to think about, something to consider. Now, some of you might be wondering why I have that old picture of my old band behind me. And this is not an announcement of anything. But what I will say is that Psychosonik has established a Substack. And if you have any interest in the band, I would encourage you to subscribe to it, because I think it is quite likely that things are going to be coming. I had a long 2-hour conversation with my co-founder, and while nothing's definite yet, he did ask me to. He's been paying attention to what I've been doing with Soul Sigma and with Vibe Patrol, and he said, this kind of solves the one biggest problem I always had working with your stuff, which is, one reason that we kind of got a little bit into that sort of 90s rap style verses was because when I provided him with lyrics, I was unable to provide him with melodies. And so that was one of the reasons why our verses tended to be a little too non-melodic. And so now, because I have the ability to create the stuff in Suno and come up with initial ideas in Suno, now we have the starting point is like, instead of starting out the old starting line, we're starting halfway down the track. And so anyhow, I just so I've been working on some ideas, as you can imagine. None of these things are finished. If you follow AI Central, then you probably saw that I had a post up today talking about the new way that I discovered to do really high quality AI generated lyrics as a starting point. And because sometimes when you're writing, sometimes you have a full idea. Sometimes you only have a choral hook. Sometimes you only have like one line, right? So that's when it's really useful to be able to just break the blank page problem by having Suno or Claude or whoever give you some ideas, give you some starting points. And so what I tried, and what I'm going to show you here in a second, is I thought, well, what happens if you were to take a short story, a cyberpunk short story like Shinjuku Satan, upload it into Claude, and say, hey, give me 3 verses and a chorus based on the story. And so I did that, and then I revised the lyrics a bit, because the main problem with AI, no matter what, when it comes to lyrics, is it just doesn't get flow. It doesn't get Suno can handle flow. Suno always does a good job with flow. All the other AIs don't. It's why when you're reading a book, when you're reading a novel, and the novelist comes up with like band names, song names, and song lyrics, and they're always wrong. I mean, they're always very clear that this was never a song. This is a non-songwriter's idea of what a song could be. William Gibson, I was rereading Zero History recently, and it's always funny when he's writing about these these bands and that sort of thing, and it's always off. It's always just a little bit off, But anyhow, so let's take a look at this. I think you're gonna enjoy some of this. But now this is what I put up on AI Central, and it's called The Ghost in Your Machine, and it is the one that is based on Shinjuku Satan. So have a listen to this.
Through lightning rain, 40 floors above the street. Susie's ghost will not explain how she'll find the secret seat. Incognito, dressed in black, chrome and flesh and binary, hunting gods throughout the stack, where the info demons flee. Shinjuku's electric maze, wife was preaching in the dark, borrowed souls in plastic praise, everyone with a devil's mark. Dance floor prophets wide and strange, moving to a greater beat, every heartbeat rearranged to make paradise complete. Connect with me, machine gun cries, in this place of flesh and wire, silicon prayers and silver lies, burning like a pyre. I'm the ghost in your machine, I'm the virus in your dream. Connect and disconnect till the final circuit scream. Of the damned, where the angels have no wings, I take the devil by the hand and break the code of holy things. 5,000 hunters in my blood, now no killers in the stream, drowning gods in primal flood, destroy the siliconic dream. Yakiniku, one last meal before I roll into the night. Everything that seems so real fades to false for silver light. Bodies fall and powered down, servers crash at 3 a.m. in the mazy ghost-filled town. I'm the terminus, amen. Connect with me, machine gun cries, in this place of flesh and wire, silicon prayers and silver lies, burning like a pyre. I'm the ghost in your machine, I'm the virus in your dream. Connect and disconnect till the final circuit scream. I'm the reaper, I'm the devil, I'm the ghost in your machine.
So that was Ghost in Your Machine, which is based on the short story Shinjuku Satan, which of course appears in my collection of short stories called The Altar of Hate. Skydog says, this lyric music combo delivers a narrative so hard to come in industrial techno. Well done. Well, thank you. But you know, these are not, to be clear, these are not Psychosonik songs. These are just ideas, starting points. And you know, what really excites me is the possibility of combining the power. I mean, like I said, that for me, doing analysis, having AI is like having a turbo boost on your brain. Most people have no idea whatsoever how good Psychosonik actually was. And the reason that they don't is because they don't realize that we were not even half-assing it. We were like somewhere between 1/4 and 1/3 assing it. I was busy getting my computer game company started. All the guys were very busy with other things that they were doing. And it was just basically something that we were kind of doing for fun in our spare time. That's why we never went on tour, etc., etc. And yet, you can find some things on YouTube and stuff where they talk about how, we were very influential, and they had a lot of complimentary things to say about the stuff that we were doing. And so I'm really, really excited about the possibility to see what can be done. So what I'm going to show you next, this is not something that involves any AI lyrics. This was my attempt to see what I could do to replicate the general sort of my favorite aspect of style. Basically, when Paul and I talk, we always talk about first album, second album. And the funny thing is that our biggest success was something that I was not involved with in any way. And yet it was Paul and Dan basically trying to recreate what I had been pushing them towards and what they had abandoned on the second album. But they were trying to get back to it. That's how Panic Control got made. And a lot of people don't realize that Panic Control went platinum. We haven't figured out exactly how many it sold, but apparently it actually sold possibly as many as 3.5 million singles. And so there's a lot of bands that have never had a platinum record, much less a platinum record and 4 Billboard Top 40 club chart hits, right? So anyhow, it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of stuff potentially coming down the road to discuss. But like I said, this was my attempt to demonstrate to the others what could be done. Because they're lightly aware of music AI, but they don't really, like a lot of professional musicians, they haven't really paid much attention to it. So this is something I wrote called What Was Meant to Be. And it's basically just, frankly, it's just basically an ode to my bandmates. But I think you'll see why some people have heard it, found it very, very recognizable, even though it doesn't incorporate any element from any old song. Yeah. So, what's interesting is that is so obviously identifiable as a psychosonic sound. I mean, think about how remarkable that is, that, it's 30 years later, all the techno, all the EDM, all the stuff that's out there, and yet there's very, very little that actually has that same vibe, that same combination of kind of a rock metal riff edge with the heavy beats and the aggressive arpeggiation. I also thought it was funny that it comes really, really easily and automatic to me when I'm trying to do it. I actually stayed very far away. I did do a little bit of experiment with some techno flavored stuff, but I really stayed away from it just because it didn't feel right doing it without the guys. And so it's really an absolute blast to be able to sort of head in that direction again. So I'm going to play you one more, and again, these are just song ideas. They're not finished songs. They're, if Psychosonik does start doing stuff, we're not going to do. It's not going to be done the way like I do it, with Soul Sigma and Vibe Patrol. It's not. It's just going to be starting points. Maybe now that you can pull stems out, maybe some of them are useful. Maybe not. We'll see. But I took the same approach that I took with the Ghosts in Your Machine, and this one is called The Long and Lonesome Skyway, and I will give bonus points to anyone who can tell me the author and the short story upon which it was based. So let me fire this up here. The Long and Lonesome Skyway.
Static in the skull, agony sparks, angry memes. Paris burning when they pull me deep from delta-centric dreams. 50,000 voltage spike waves inside space-time channels sway, while the orbit slowly drains. My power fails and I drift away. In false gravity, Brazilian vines and morning light, mirrors spin on schedule C, the starshine shimmers burning bright. Science in the clearing waits for damaged cargo coming home, 8 years deep beyond the gates, where the techno spirits roll. On the long and lonesome skyway, where the broken vessels go, black hole martyrs lead the way to worlds we'll never know. In the seashell, in the circuit, every fragment holds the whole. On the long and lonesome skyway, lost between machine and soul. chest. Cold equations, space between. Failed experiments now at rest. In the surgical machine, voices screaming in the void. When the paradigms broke down, everything we thought destroyed. In some distant lost and found, on the long and lonesome skyway, where the shattered vessels go. Astromartyrs lead the way to the worlds we'll never know. In the seashell, in the circuit, every fractal holds the whole. On the long and lonesome skyway, when lost between machine and soul. That long and dreadful highway, that never-ending byway, between machine and soul.
So that was The Long and Lonesome Skyway, and it's actually based on a William Gibson short story called Hinterlands. And so, I mean, honestly, I think I could do an entire album taken from Burning Chrome. Bilbo Swagman says, on a serious note, the Latin and biblical songs you did were quite good. Hope you do more. Oh, I'm sure I will. But you know, I'm remain to this day a absolute, complete and utter William Gibson fanboy. I love everything he's ever written. You know, I did go through a phase when I was younger, when books like Idoru were coming out, that I didn't like them because they weren't Mona Lisa Overdrive. But then I went back and reread them when I got a bit older and just realized how he'd actually improved. There's one or two books that are, you know, definitely not my favorite. I tend not to like it when he tries to get a little bit military, because it's one area he doesn't really do well. But, you know, some of the stuff that he's done with marketing and brands and communication, and, you know, he's been just as insightful in some of his later books as he was in the early ones, where he had so much influence on the computer world and on the internet. And so, you know, it's so fitting with the Psychosonik sound, because of course, you know, all of our first two albums were basically, you know, odes to technology. Yeah. I mean, we were writing songs about AI 30 years ago, and now we're writing songs with AI, you know. And so, you know, I don't know yet what exactly is going to come of all this. I'm not going to put these songs up there on unauthorized yet, just because, like I said, at this point they're just song ideas, really. I did, however, and with Paul's permission, put the Dark Void mix of Sonata. That was actually, to be honest, I think that was probably what convinced him more than anything of the utility of AI in songwriting. Just because now you can upload the entire song, an existing song, and then have AI do a complete remix of it. You don't have very much control, and it's very haphazard, and it doesn't work 9 times out of 10. But if you want to hear that, it's up on Unauthorized. You can see it. You can see it there, and then also, I think, as you know, my new Vibe Patrol single, A Disney Souvenir, has been released and is now out on Spotify, iTunes, etc., etc. You probably noticed on that last one, that Long and Lonesome Skyway definitely had a little bit of Soul Sigma in it. I decided to indulge myself. And also, frankly, because both the short story and the song kind of had a little bit of a it had a not the short story, I'm sorry, that was a different short story, the one with the virtual biplanes, the air battle one. Hinterlands didn't actually have any Western, American Southwest type stuff, but I felt that just with the vibe of it and the highway theme, that I thought that it called for a little bit of proper guitar and that sort of thing. So Silent Draco said, that's an interesting set of concepts or rough drafts. Gets your interest. Maybe AI will help you write a song about the Reconquista of Minneapolis. Yeah. Anyhow, thanks for indulging me, and again, let me know if there's interest in Voxiversity, and I look forward to seeing you. Probably not next on the... No, actually, I don't think we're doing Arcaven Nights. That's right. I think John is still incommunicado, so perhaps we'll do an impromptu Arcaven Nights where we'll discuss some of the news in the comics industry, because there's a lot of stuff going on, which if you read Phantom Pulse. I'm Vox Day. This is the Darkstream.